most of the women, including myself, are educated about puberty and the menopause, start of our periods, end of our periods. In between, of course, the fertility part, reproduction is very important, right? But we are not taught that perimenopause, the
Mm,
transition towards a cessation of the periods, starts 10 years before. And what happened to me is
mm,
that suddenly my whole health started changing and symptoms started hitting me like a bomb. Starting with our diet. We need to change our diet completely. That's step number one. Number two, what kind of exercise? Weight bearing exercise. Yoga is great for that because it's weight bearing. Breathing
mm,
exercises to
mm,
calm yourself, and then some simple
mhm.
meditation so that you are like calm, you're not going cuckoo in the morning. Holistic should be the first approach. We should embrace it as part of our lifestyle, incorporate to embrace the holistic lifestyle.
I'm Philippa. In this podcast, me and my generous guests delve deep into the world of menopause. Buckle up and get ready to embark on a journey of empowerment and self-discovery as we embrace the change. Welcome to Moving Through Menopause. This episode, I'm joined by Amita Sharma, and she's passionate about women's holistic health, and she's a wellness champion and advocate. Amita experienced her own personal struggles as a perimenopausal woman in corporate America, and inspired by these struggles, she's developed a holistic care platform to support women and to really bring this taboo subject of menopause out into the open. And so today we're going to talk all about menopause. Well, no surprise there. And so we're going to really delve into this topic of menopause, holistic healthcare, and when should we begin to start thinking about this for ourselves. So welcome, Amita. Thank you so much for coming along and having a chat with me today.
Well, thank you so much. Super excited. Love the work you're doing. So, yeah, let's roll on.
Indeed. So I just wondered if you wouldn't mind sharing just something of your own story for our listeners today.
Yeah, so most of the women, including myself, we are educated about puberty and the menopause. Start of our periods, end of our periods. In between, of course, the fertility part, the reproduction is very important, right? But we are not taught, or anyone tells us that the perimenopause, that the
Mm,
transition towards a woman's cessation of the periods starts 10 years before. And that part is taken by surprise, and that exactly what happened to me is
mm,
that suddenly my body, my whole health started changing and the symptoms started hitting me like a bomb. Things like hot flash, sitting in a corporate meeting and suddenly you're getting sweating like, oh my god, like something is wrong with you, and I thought I was going to have a heart attack. Things like that, right?
yeah, it can, and I consider myself an educated woman and I work in healthcare. So you'd think that if anybody was going to be on top of this stuff, it might have been me. But you are so absolutely right. And this is really what started me on my mission to help women to really preempt what's coming, what is inevitable. And of course, that's if we're talking about a normal course of menopause, that is women in around the time of 50, 51, when the periods cease. And premature menopause, that's a whole nother ball game in and of itself. But being prepared as much as possible, is the thing that I'm passionate that we really encourage women to get their heads around.
Absolutely. And the irregular periods, they talk about the first symptom, and
Mm,
that's exactly what happened to me. But we don't know that the flow of the period, if I can be more graphic here in this podcast, for women who are going to listen, can be like a tap opening down there. It can happen to a lot of women out there, and you are completely caught by shock and surprise, if
mm,
especially you're going in work and all those things start happening. So all these suddenly these symptoms, when they start hitting you, and women, if they're not prepared what their body is going to do for the next 10 years,
mm,
and an average I'm talking about,
mm.
before they hit the menopause, they are completely taken by surprise, and so was I was
I
like,
know.
oh my god, what the heck I'm supposed to do? I'm like, something is wrong with me. Right?
Well, your story absolutely mirrors mine, which is a whole 10 years of wondering what the heck was going on and feeling like you just had to deal with it and get through it and all the different symptoms with nothing you could do about it. And you know what, Amita, to be honest with you, I considered myself to be a healthy specimen. I thought I was doing all the right things. And, you know, for the most part, I was in terms of movement and nutrition and, all these other things. But I think the one thing that was getting the better of me was stress, as it happens.
Mhm.
And so, the idea that even people who think they've got the hang of this stuff
Mhm.
around that time of menopause, you can get caught out. And, and I definitely was totally taken by surprise and somehow thought that there was nothing that you could do. You just had to put up with it and eventually it would come to an end.
The stress is very common.
Mm,
I mean, think about it. If you're getting a hot flash, or you having night sweats and you're not able to sleep, and then you have to go to work, and you're not able to
mm,
concentrate because you're getting these moments of brain fog that you suddenly can't remember what you just said. You are going to get stressed out, and you're barely in your 40s, right? Any
yeah,
woman
yeah.
out there. So the stress, so all these things can completely disrupt your life, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, what we're saying is that there are things we can do to help
Mhm,
ourselves.
mhm.
And sometimes you need help from other people who've, tread this path ahead of you. And so, what we're saying is that about 10 years before the periods start, this is when the changes will begin to happen in the vast majority of cases. And sometimes, you know what, so many women think that they're actually going mad about this time. The mood swings, the emotional impact of
Yes.
this transition, the hormonal decreases, the estrogen decreasing it and fluctuating, as well, wildly, really can just totally mess with your mind. And that, in a way, sort of stops you from seeking help because you think, well, really, I'm just crazy. So, what's what are they going to do about that? But it's totally the hormones messing with your mind. And so holistic healthcare is something that I'm quite excited about and keen on. And I know that's something that you really champion for women. So, tell me a little bit about that if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So, what's happening, women need to understand what's happening in their bodies, first of all. Then,
Sure.
when this whole process starts of perimenopause, the hormones, the two hormones, the female sex hormones we have, is estrogen and progesterone. The first step is the progesterone starts going down, and we could get estrogen dominance. So, but there's
Mm,
such a roller coaster ride. Now, if there's an estrogen dominance that happens, tendency to put on weight. Most of us start putting on suddenly weight that we don't even eat, and suddenly, oh, my friends are saying, oh my god, I barely eat, and suddenly I don't know how the heck I put on, right,
mm,
5 pounds,
mm,
10 pounds, or whatever. And then the belly is another one that starts, the whole weight goes on our belly, so we feel so helpless. And then, of course, we know the hormone therapies out there, but there have been so many contradictory research out there. Oh, you're going to get breast cancer, or you're going to get this, you're going to get that. So I think 50% of the women are seeking holistic health care during this phase, and the rest of them are seeking hormonal therapy. Now, on the holistic front, when we come, there is so much that we can do. Starting with our diet, we need to change our diet completely, because now we know that whole these fluctuations and the roller coaster ride of our hormones is going to mess up our mood, going to get anxiety, depression. That's step number one. We need to figure out what kind of diet, right? Then the movement, also the change of movement. You are a specialist in movement. The change of movement is also necessary. That has to happen too. The number two, what kind of exercise? You can say weight bearing exercise, you can
mm,
take some kind of a pranayama, breathing
mm,
exercises to
mm,
calm yourself. And then also some yoga is great for that because it's weight bearing. And then meditation, some of the simple
mhm,
meditation, so that
yeah.
in the morning you are like calm, you're not going cuckoo in the morning. So these kind of things, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I suppose the thing for me is that as a sort of founded in Western medicine is obviously my roots. And and the thing that I advocate over the whole of my career is this partnership approach. I kind of think that holistic medicine is fabulous. I'm a acupuncture trained physiotherapist.
Mhm.
I work with a homeopathy and aromatherapy and lots of adjuncts
Yes.
that I absolutely love. And I think that's important for us to stress that it doesn't have to be either or, and that the two things together can actually work really, really well. So for me, hormonal replacement therapy was something that I ended up feeling that I had no option to
Mhm.
pursue.
Mhm.
But that didn't stop me from doing all the other fantastic things that I know I must still do. And I think for those 50% of women who do opt to take hormone replacement therapy, this holistic approach to healthcare is not excluded, is it? It's definitely something that we can all stand to benefit from, whatever our decision regarding hormonal replacement.
Absolutely. It doesn't mean that someone has taken hormonal therapy. That doesn't mean that you can stop doing holistic. Holistic should be the first approach, the first
Mm,
go to, sort of like our mechanism. We should embrace it as part of our lifestyle, is what,
mm,
and that's what I'm trying to
mm.
bring forth for all the women out there, that it doesn't matter. We're not saying that don't take medication. The
No, no.
point is, you change your lifestyle, change your daily routine,
Yeah.
and embrace all these beautiful things. They are all evidence based. So, for example, we women, by the time we are 40, we have so much inflammation that we can accumulate in our body because of
Mm,
the way we are eating the processed food and the makeup
mm.
and all the environment.
Yes.
Getting ourselves detoxification or simple cleansing is something that we should all do, and Ayurveda has amazing tools for us to help us do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Just
yeah,
for an
yeah.
example, Ayurveda has an amazing daily routine that we can start following, and these are all prevention based. Simple detoxification of eating a simple meal for 3 4 days, and making sure your body is kind of getting itself cleansed internally. That is something Ayurveda teaches. Now, if
Mm,
you go on acupuncture, acupuncture is amazing on you can kind of the energy, right? As you
mm,
know that.
mm, mm,
So that's where the acupuncture can come in. Some of the supplements, the naturopathic doctors can help. There's a lot of research on the red clover or shatavari or ashwagandha. Now, the thing is, we should not take it by ourselves without the consultation of a qualified practitioner. But
mm.
there are out there all these supplements as well that we can take help from.
Of the idea of Ayurvedic medicine, it's
Mhm.
it's one of the few things that I haven't pursued. I kind of got to the stage where feel I've got too many qualifications and I don't need any more. And so, leave it to the experts, the people who've had this training over the number of
Mhm.
years. And so, but it is this idea of food as medicine. That's kind
Mhm.
of, where I see it. And there's no doubt, as you say, the levels of systemic inflammation that
Mhm.
humankind are walking around with at the moment, with the fast food revolution that's taken place, that's impacting our overall health significantly. And the problem is that actually it's not till the wheels fall off the wagon that you become symptomatic, that you start to address these issues. And in actual fact, prevention is the thing that we're focusing on, isn't it? If we can intervene earlier and then not get to that point where the wheels fall off the wagon, that by managing lifestyle and lifestyle medicine, it's powerful stuff, isn't it, Amisa?
Absolutely. And the starting point is, I think, setting your daily routine. So
Mm,
even if you start simple steps, but lifestyle medicine, what is exactly what it mean? Lifestyle is your lifestyle, what you do on a daily basis, right? That becomes your lifestyle. So unless until as someone you don't set your daily routine in a way that you're going to nourish yourself.
Mm.
Nourish does not mean only food, but nourish
Mm.
also means other things. And then
Yes.
slowly, slowly, you start making these changes so that, I'm not saying the symptoms are completely going to go away for everyone, but at least you can tread yourself to the path that you're
Mhm.
better prepared.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And the other thing that I love about this stuff is that it's good for everything. It isn't just good for menopause, is it? It's good for everything. Our heart health, our brain health, our overall emotional health. So you don't even have to be a woman to benefit from this stuff, do you?
No, no, not at all. Our focus has been this perimenopausal woman, but there is enough evidence that talks about lifestyle medicine can reverse diabetes, as an example.
Mhm.
So
Mm.
much evidence is already out there. Heart disease. One thing that I do want to talk about is the perimenopause. That transition phase is so important for women to take care of themselves, because
Mhm.
if you don't take care of yourself, this has a direct link to women possibly having a chronic condition. There is a
Mm.
direct link of hormonal imbalance and chronic condition developing. And the chronic conditions are osteoporosis, diabetes, cancer, your dementia, early part of dementia, and heart disease.
Mm.
More
Yeah.
women are having
Yeah.
heart disease than men.
Mm.
This is a fact, and we always discard the fact that we always think men are the ones who are going to have a heart attack, but more
Mm.
women do have heart disease, and 80% of the women over 55 in the United States have one chronic conditions, and that's just after your menopause, if you think about it.
Mm.
So the period is very, very important for us to change our lifestyle, to incorporate, to embrace the holistic lifestyle.
Yeah. 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 I do agree entirely with what you're saying as it happens. I think this is challenging for people to
Mhm.
approach. You mentioned the idea of your daily routine, and it might just be that we change one thing, first, isn't it? Because the other thing is that there are a variety of approaches that you could take, and different things will appeal to different people more, I suppose. And so breathing practices can be so beneficial from the point of view of energy management,
Mhm.
sleep, emotional health. And yet, for some people, that might just be a step too far, something that they're not really feeling that it's for them, if you know what I mean. So I think take it step by step, as you said, and incorporate something new into a daily routine and make these habits for life. And that's the thing for me that I know from my own point of view. A healthy lifestyle is something that is not just for Christmas, it is for the rest of your life. And it's contagious as well. This is what I love, that if we're thinking about our family members, children, we're often, as women, we're the role models for the family. We set
Mhm.
the tone and we set the scene. And so when we adopt these healthy lifestyle practices, then this then has this knock-on effect on all the people in our lives. And I know from my own experience, my children have embraced healthy eating, healthy movement patterns. My
Mhm.
son does yoga with me, and he's only 23, and that's quite enlightened, I think, for a young man. So this is another fabulous reason for embracing these healthy habits as we get a bit more wise with age.
Absolutely. It could be simple practice of, like, there's so many things we can talk about, like aromatherapy, essential oils.
Mm,
We can learn how to use some of the oils at night, a little bit of that will help you calm down. That could be one thing, someone can start off with. The
mhm.
other thing is Veda has a practice called Abhyanga. Abhyanga is nothing but self massage, right?
Oh.
So it's beautiful practice. And also it has a ton of evidence of helping your joints, all the things that I just talked about, calming
Mm,
yourself. Abhyanga is nothing but taking some oil and lathering all over your body, and massaging your entire body on a daily basis. Now,
mm,
some women might say, "Oh my God, I don't like the smell of some oil, and I don't like it on my body." You could take something that's odorless and try that. I do that every single day, and I think it has helped me, stay calm. I should say that.
Most of the time.
Most of the time, yes, and not going cuckoo. So this is something, a simple thing women can try, right?
Mm, yeah, and I mean that idea of taking time for yourself to really nourish yourself, and that's a mindful practice, isn't it, as well, that you'll be noticing the different parts of your body as you're applying your massage, lotion, oil, whatever it is. And just this time for self-care, so important in busy lives that we incorporate these simple what can be brief practices. 6 deep breaths can just shift how you feel. That only 6. I mean, that takes no time at all.
Absolutely. The other thing women can do is, we know that our estrogen is going down, and we can eat food that are high in estrogen,
Mm,
phytoestrogen, plant
mm,
based, right?
mm,
So you can take that into your diet, plants and food that have natural estrogen, so that you can start you can't replenish the entire estrogen that's being lost, but at least on a daily basis you can start incorporating things like cauliflower. I know people eat broccoli, but that has a lot of benefits. Brussels sprouts, kale, these kind of asparagus, these kind of foods can be incorporated into our diet, if possible.
yes, simple things that we can do to enhance our own health. It,
Mhm,
it it just seems like a no-brainer where I'm concerned.
mhm,
And and all these foods have the added benefit of all the antioxidants, good for skin. All sorts of different benefits. If we break down everything that's in the different foods that we could eat, filling our plate with this rainbow of colorful fruits and
mhm.
vegetables, and so simple things that really don't cost very much at all if you think about it.
No, not at all. The other thing is, listening to some hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy also has a
Mm,
lot of evidence
mm,
that helps women. They're going through perimenopause with hot flashes. You could listen to some recordings of hypnotherapy, or seek a hypnotherapist. These are the things that we start embracing one at a time, right? Even
mm,
taking
mm,
a coconut oil and squishing it in your mouth, because oral health is also very important
mm,
for us, right?
mm.
You don't have to go
Yes.
to the dentist every month, but you can start taking care of your oral health, and putting a coconut oil in your mouth and squish it and then spit it out. And that's
What?
oil pulling. Yes, it's called oil pulling. Yeah, they can Google
Oh,
it. You can Google it. It's very good.
I love what you say about the work that you do, about it being culturally sensitive is
Mhm,
the other thing. And so we can stand to learn a lot from the way in which other cultures
mhm,
approach this
mhm.
transition. And I'm by no means do I think we in the West have got it all worked out, because I'm pretty sure we haven't. So, simple things, that sounds amazing. And lots of people suffer with sinus problems. And I know there are practices in Ayurveda that speak to that. And the more that I've been learning about yoga as I've become a yoga teacher over the past few years, I just am absolutely enamored with this practice. And the more that we can learn and immerse ourselves in these practices for our own benefit, for our own health, but for the health of the population of a whole. That's what we really need to think about. Aging populations are a burden on our healthcare systems. And if we can look after ourselves as we're getting older, and then, the world is absolutely your oyster, isn't it?
Absolutely. You talked about the aging population. There's another data point. In
Mm,
United States, over 40% of the workforce right now are women over 45.
mm,
Almost like 50%, but and this data is 2016, so I don't have the current data, of course. But if you can imagine, at work 50% of the women in big companies are over 45, and this
mm,
topic is not being discussed, and they're having all these symptoms. That's also going to impact your productivity, and later on, the aging population, we know the data is that 80% of us as women have one chronic condition. Huge
mm,
burden
mm,
on the healthcare and more than that, but your quality of life as you start growing older, even in your mid 50s, is going to start going down. And if you're living until mid 80s, can you imagine living 30 plus years of your life, not having a good quality of life?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that is really important for us to consider because it is that experience of life. It's the
Mhm.
life in your years, not the years in your life, isn't it? Nobody wants to be, as you say, struggling with chronic health
Mhm.
conditions for protracted periods of time. So, what we know is that you have put together a platform where women can access these types of holistic healthcare interventions. And so, why don't you tell me a little bit about that, please, Amita?
Absolutely. So we are going to release the app soon, hopefully within this month
Oh,
or next month.
okay.
So each woman can have different symptom. As we all know that there are so many symptoms women can go through. They have recorded over 34 or maybe more that I
Mm,
personally don't know. But what we've done is based on the symptom as a woman comes in and the stage that she is in. So there are different stages of menopause. One is the perimenopause, which we're talking about.
mm,
Menopause is just one day. You basically in 1 year, if you haven't had your period, you have hit menopause. And then the postmenopause. So the journey from perimenopause, postmenopause, women can have different type of issues. So based on that, we will serve the holistic therapies that we talked about, that one can do self-care by
mm,
themselves, at a very affordable price, like less than $10 a month, something like that. Now, I recommend that women, all of us, should get some kind of a testing done, because I just got all my blood tests done, because each woman can have a different kind of nutrition and a deficiency or some kind of thing, and you should really understand what it is in your body. So that's something also we will be releasing after that. You can get yourself tested for your hormones and for your other blood testing, key nutrients, and the consultation with a naturopathic doctor or someone who's educated enough
mm,
to tell you what this phase is doing to you, personalize it. So it's a
mm,
personalized holistic plan that will also be offered in addition to a self-care, which is like everyone can at least understand what
mm,
to do and then do it for themselves. That's what we are trying to bring out this year, so that women are better informed, they are empowered, right? They can take control of their life, and they are not guessing. They are
mm,
actually going with the evidence and the data to
mm.
control their destiny, their lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that. In charge of your own destiny. I think that's
Mhm.
really important for us to be empowered, to take the future of our own health into our own hands and to have support where needed. And like you say, evidence based approaches, it's important that we're not just Googling the next big thing, that there is some evidence around these interventions that we choose for ourselves and support where needed. So, like you said, and I think for me this is really important, that we've got before menopause, menopause when your periods stop, and then you are postmenopausal for the rest of your life.
Mhm.
And that has ramifications for a woman's body that we don't necessarily see and we don't necessarily feel. So, for us to stay fit and healthy for as long as is possible, enjoying this fabulous quality of life that we've talked about, to do something rather than nothing, I think is really important, to be empowered to take this journey forward with absolute and utter control. So,
Absolutely.
thank you so much for coming along and sharing your story and a little bit about the work that you're doing. Is there any other pearls of wisdom that you would like to end with?
Self love. I think we
Uh,
women are always taking care of others, right? Whether our kids or
mm,
parents or husbands or partners or whatever. I think we women have to love ourselves, and really self care, self love is what I would absolutely advocate to all the women out there.
yeah, well, I absolutely agree on that one. So, on that note, thank you so much for coming along and talking all about your Nourish Doc, you're calling it, aren't you? I like
Mhm.
that. And we'll put the information where to find you in the notes for this podcast. We'll be saying goodbye for now, but do keep in touch and, let me know when this is going live so that we can make people aware. Thank you so much for coming along today and sharing your stories with me, Meeta. It's been wonderful to meet you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.